from Stamp Sunshine on Facebook, and I make cards. The card I'd like to demonstrate for you today is this beautiful sympathy card. It's actually pretty intricate looking, but it's a very simple card without very many steps, and it features the Misty Moonlight cardstock. This is an in color for 2020-2022. It features vellum and basic white cardstock. The stamp set that I used is called Blossoms in Bloom, and it has all of these stamps and sentiments, including a really giant stamp, which is kind of unusual, but the giant stamp goes together with the dies. There's two very large dies as part of this bundle, and the bundle is called the In Bloom bundle. And so that is the stamp set and dies I'm going to be using. Another element of this card is the embossing on the layer that goes on top of the card base. And the embossing folder that I used was the 3D Tasteful Textile embossing folder. For the sympathy here, I used another set of dies, and these dies are called well-written dies. So there's just a whole lot of different words on here. But anyway, I'm going to use the sympathy die cut for this card. And I'm also going to use this really tiny little heart. So basically what I'm going to do is just ink up my stamp, the inside of the card here, and then also the envelope here. So they match and they look great. So now my envelope's done and the inside of my card's done. So now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the inside of my card using the liquid adhesive, because you just have just a fraction of a second to move it in case it's not perfectly even. So I think I got that on pretty even. And then what I'm just going to do then is go ahead and fold my card, and I'm going to burnish the edge here. My second layer onto the front of my card, which is going to be this really cool embossed layer, and that's just going to also be glued down, that first layer on top of my card base, which is the embossed layer. And I just think that turns out really pretty. So don't worry too much if some of your centers fell out, but you could leave them or you could punch them all out. It doesn't matter. This is just what I chose to do. And then I'm just going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to continue punching out the rest of the centers on this flower. Okay. And then I think that's pretty good. And that might take you a while to punch some of those out. Now, the other piece, it actually turned out pretty good, but I wanted to just show you, for example, if you didn't want to use the Take Your Pick tool on that with the pokey tool, you could also take the tip off the one end of your Take Your Pick tool that has the putty, and we sell separately this roller brush. And the roller brush goes together with the Take Your Pick tool, and you could just roll that over the top of your vellum, and it comes with this spongy foam mat. And when you roll that over the vellum, it's going to separate any extra pieces that haven't yet come out. And I did that earlier, and so that wasn't really a very good illustration of how well it works, but I just wanted to demonstrate it for you. So the next thing that I want to do is just go ahead and show you how I glued this onto my piece of vellum. So this is not something that Stampin' Up! Sells, but I poured my fine tip glue into this bottle. And then all I'm going to do now is just go in and find a few spots on the back of this die cut where there's a little bit larger pieces of white, and that's where I'm going to put my glue. You can use the regular glue, it works fine. It really doesn't take a lot to hold on this tiny die cut. I'm only going to use that much. Then I'm going to find how this lines up. And I'm just going to touch it where I remember having the glue, which is here, here, and a couple of other places. This does not have to be exactly lined up. In fact, I think it looks kind of whimsical if it's not exactly lined up. So you do you, however you think you might like it to look. All right, and there we have our vellum put together with the beautiful new basic white die cut. All right, so I think I can start assembling my card now, the rest of it anyway. All I need to do is just put this on the front, and I'm going to adhere my sympathy down here at the bottom, as well as this teeny tiny heart that I die cut out. I'm going to set that here, and you're thinking, good luck finding that on that flowery background. But I'm going to switch back over my take your pick tool because I think I'm going to be needing that when I go to pick up that tiny little thing right there. In fact, I'm going to point it right at it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is decide where I want to lay my die cut here. And you know, there's no rhyme or reason. You can do it this way, or you can do it the other way. I think I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to place some Stampin' Dimensionals on it, and I'm going to use the small ones. They're not very noticeable, and I think they're just going to disappear right into the back of this vellum. Okay, I think that'll be good. You could also use full-size Stampin' Dimensionals and just cut them in half. Okay, so now I am just going to finish up by adding this die cut to my card front. So we're just going to peel the backing off, and it should all come off in one piece. And it did. There's one little piece here that I'm going to try to get off. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my tweezers to layer this on the front. The whole thing is covered with the sticky backing. As you can see, it's kind of shiny right now. And now I'm just going to go ahead and lay that wherever I want it. You could put it here. I think I like it down here. And then once I get it in place, I'm just going to press it for a second so that it sticks to the vellum. Okay, and then the last thing I'll do is decide where I want that tiny little blue heart. And I think I'm going to put that right here. Just take a tiny bit of glue, use my take your pick tool to pick that up, and my tweezer to lay it down. Oh, that's such a pretty card. I think it's a beautiful sympathy card. It's simple yet elegant, and you can add a sentiment to the inside or a special personal note, and let those people that are going through a hard time know that you're thinking of them with a special handmade card. So if you'd like to order any of the items that you saw here today in this demonstration, please go to LoriMagnuson.stampinup.net. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'd love to hear from you, and I hope that you will send your cards. Thank you.